One person. What can one person make a difference? How is that? I'm just one person up here. But let's go back 100 years. The fact of why we're here. You see, 100 years ago, one person by the name of Ralph Smedley, I don't know if he thought he was going to make a difference or make a change, but he knew he had a vision, and that was to help young men become better public speakers. Because back 100 years ago, when they had the Dale Carnegie courses, when you had to pay thousands of dollars to be able to become a good speaker, he thought, what about the people that don't have thousands of dollars to become better? Why is there a disadvantage for them? So he started the meeting in the basement of a YMCA club 100 years ago. I don't think he realized the effect of his vision and how it was going to affect actually the world. So 100 years ago, he started Toastmasters. Woo! And I better give him another big woo for what I'm about to say next. And 5 years later, Phyllis Allen was born. Phyllis grew up as a child on a farm in Des Moines, Iowa, milking cows, feeding the chickens before they had to go to school. And I don't think with her two brothers and two sisters as a child growing up that she would have thought, one day I'm going to change the world. I don't think she ever thought that. And I think she was like many of us thinking, well, I'm just one person. So Phyllis goes with her life. She goes to high school. In fact, I believe she told me that kids from first grade all the way up to high school level were all in one building. There were 19 of them in one building learning lessons. So first graders were also listening to what the seniors were working on. She grew up with no running water. Just to let you know, sometimes no electricity. She was just one person growing up, got married, met Slim, a really fine gentleman. And they're in Des Moines, Iowa. They both had their jobs. And Phyllis wound up getting a job where she was the top secretary to a CEO of a corporation. And Phyllis did her job very well. She took the shorthand, she took notes, she filed, she typed, she did everything, set everything up. And then one day, her boss said, oh, by the way, Phyllis, we're having a meeting, and you're going to have to read back the minutes of the last meeting. What? Me? Speak in front of all these executives? Oh, Phyllis told me she was sweating, she was nervous. She thought she was going to faint. But she stood up, and she gave the minutes, and she survived. And then she realized, I've got to change something about that. What can I do? Now, while she's working and everything, doing her little shorthand and being a secretary, a woman by the name of Helen Blanchard found out about Toastmasters. But in 1970, Toastmasters was still an all-male organization. In other words, no women allowed. 1970. Well, Helen Blanchard wanted to be a part of this. So she submitted an application, but instead of putting Helen Blanchard, she wrote Homer Blanchard. And they accepted her application in 1970. After 3 long years, they said, okay, you know what? Fine. Women want to join, let's let them join. So when they did allow this, their population, their enrollment doubled because that many women wanted to improve their public speaking skills. And 5 years later, in 1978, Phyllis joined Toastmasters saying, I am one of those women that wants to improve. She went to a couple of speech crafts, and then she joined Toastmasters. And she thought, well, I'm just going to give a few speeches and get better. And before she knew it, in District 19 in Des Moines, Iowa, Phyllis was district governor. So she went from just, I'm just going to give a few speeches, to actually having one of the top roles in that district. Her life continues, and then she and her husband retire. And so what do retired people do? She started asking everybody, and her neighbors would leave. Well, where's everybody going? Well, you see, in Des Moines, Iowa, all of November, December, January, February, you have feet of snow that you have to shovel, or you can't leave your home. And sometimes you don't even get to go outside. Well, everybody else says, you need to try going down to South Texas for the winter. That's why we call them winter Texans, because they were just coming down for those months. So Phyllis and her husband, Slim, decided, let's go check it out. And they went to a few other places, but for some reason, when they got here to South Texas, they really liked it. So they started coming down every winter. Now, Phyllis loved Toastmasters so much that she said, you know what? I'm going to find a club that's down here in the valley. And I'm not going to be a district governor. I'm not going to hold an office. I'm not going to be president of a club. I'm just going to go down, and because I love Toastmasters so much, I might give a speech or two. So she goes and looks for Toastmasters clubs here in South Texas. And guess how many she finds? 0. None. I think I would have said, well, okay, I guess I'm just not going to join the Toastmaster club then. Not Phyllis. Wait a minute, what? People down here don't know about Toastmasters? Well, I'm going to change that. So she gives a couple of speech crafts, gets 20 people together, fills out applications, charters her first club, and her second, and third, and fourth, and fifth. One person. So why am I talking so highly of Phyllis? I mean, she's a great lady. I love her to death. But about 13 years ago, I came in through that door. Saw everybody here having a Toastmaster meeting. Quite frankly, a lot of them had gray hair, and I thought, this is not my club. I need a club with young people. And everybody welcomed me. I remember Phyllis being there. I remember Blanca being there. Come back. I said, oh, I'll think about coming back. But I thought I needed to find a club that had younger people, because I didn't want to be with all these people that had gray hair. But my God wound up showing me instantly how that was a mistake. Because I got on the road, started driving home, and this gentleman, this grandpa in front of me, gray hair, is in the fast lane, and I'm trying to get home. And I honk at him, and he moves over to the slow lane. And I rolled down my window, and I want to tell him, hey, you're in the fast lane, old man. And he looks at me and goes, Luisa? George? He's like, hey, how's it going? I said, yeah, you back in the valley? Yeah, cool. I graduated with George. So if he was grandpa, that meant I probably looked like grandma. I thought, you know what? Maybe this is the club of joy. And I'm so glad I did. Because Phyllis Allen told me, well, why are you joining Toastmasters? I said, Phyllis, I'm here to compete. Do you want to go do Gavel Masters with? No, I don't. Do you want to be a leader? Would you like to take an office? No, I don't. I want to compete. Okay. All right. What are you going to compete in? I like humorous. She goes, well, I know you like humorous, but you should look into the International Speech Contest. The what? The International Speech Contest, where you can motivate and inspire. Why would I want to do that? No, because I think you'd really like it. So I competed. 6 years straight. Never won a district. The 7th year, I told Phyllis Allen. In 2019, I said, you know what, Phyllis? If I don't win this year, if I don't make it to district, if I don't win district, I'm done. And she says, do you know what your problem is? Do you know why you're not winning? I said, wait a minute. You've known for 7 years why I'm not winning and you're just not telling me? She goes, Luisa, you're not having any fun. What? She goes, you're not having any fun. You get up there and you're too serious. You won't talk to anybody. I said, Phyllis, it's a contest, not a con-fun. Okay? A contest. They're testing me. She said, okay, we'll do whatever. But so in 2019, go to district, went first place. A month later, I remember I'm loading up some of my shelter dogs, getting ready to drive them to New York, and I get a ding message. Congratulations, you've made regional. Oh, wow, I don't even know what that means. Well, that means I would be going to Denver, Colorado to compete at the semifinals with 27 other people. 30,000 people competed in this contest from 143 countries around the world. You heard that, Ralph? International, Ralph. You made international. Whoop, whoop. So there's now 28 of us competing for first place. And they choose 8 of us, and I was one of those 8 to advance. And I couldn't believe it. And Phyllis says, aren't you having fun? I said, absolutely. In fact, if you go back and look at my 2019 speech on YouTube, I'm having fun. And that's all I could think of was having fun. I wasn't even thinking of winning. And I came in second in the world. And that was so amazing. I couldn't believe it then, and I still can't believe it now. So 5 years later, I decided to keep trying for first place. When I came up right now to introduce myself, I said I'm the champion of 2024. And most people introduce me, and it's okay, but for me to actually say it, yep, it's true. Sometimes I still don't believe it. But in 2024, last year in Anaheim, I got on stage. 27 of us competing, and I came in first place. And the first Hispanic to do that. All because of one person. If you think you can't make a difference because you're just one person, I beg to differ. I looked at this sign earlier, this little banner right here, and at the bottom it said where leaders are made. I never wanted to become a leader. I really didn't even want to influence or inspire. I wanted to be a comedian. But because one person saw more in me than I did, I now hold the title that will go down in history as the first Hispanic, handicapped, female, senior citizen to take home first place. Just because you're one person, don't think you don't have the ability to change the world or make it better. You do. You just have to believe in yourself and have somebody else believe in you too. And that's easy to find here at Toastmasters because we all believe so much in everybody else. I have yet to meet a Toastmaster that I do not like or didn't like me. Well, that was that one. No, I'm kidding. Again, thank you, Toastmasters. Thank you, this group, for coming down and sharing all your knowledge with us, helping us to try to get better. And Phyllis, thank you.